Okay, so hopefully we've come up with some definitions, we've come up with individual definitions, and then we've combined our thoughts collectively and we've come up with some group definitions. And again, you'll see from the following slides, there are numerous definitions out there, there are numerous interpretations out there of physical literacy. So don't worry if you haven't come up with the exact definition, don't worry if you've come up with something that is way off. This is a learning experience. It's trying to get you to understand this is what physical literacy is. This is how we should interpret it as a sports coach, as a PE teacher. Also, don't worry about some of the literature, some of the words that are used within the definition. Because like I said, the lady that came up with the definition is a lady called Margaret Whitehead. She does have a book out on physical literacy, which I think was published in 2014. And if you read that book, it is very deep, it is very thought-provoking, it is very philosophical, but there are some big words in there that have got philosophical sort of connotations, and I'll try and go through some of that as the lecture progresses. So, in short, physical literacy can be described as a disposition to capitalise on the human embodied capability wherein the individual has the motivation, confidence, physical competence, knowledge and understanding to value and take responsibility for engagement in physical activities for life. So if I just sort of backtrack a little bit and we just go through some of the key words within that definition. So it can be described as a disposition. So a disposition is related to your individual body, personality, to capitalise, to make the best of, to capitalise on a human embodied capability. So human embodied capability, it's the capability within our body to do what we can. I think we need to recognise that within young children, they have all got individual human embodied capability. They will all respond differently. They have all got different capabilities. They have all got different capacities. So when we're looking at young children, we shouldn't be measuring them against standards or norms, which inherently that's what we do, because they're all different. They've all got different capacities to do things. They're all going to be on a different journey, and they're all going to do it at different times and stages of their life and career. I think the key part of the physical literacy definition is the second part of this quote there. So it's the motivation. So if we look at motivation, you've got young children that are intrinsically and extrinsically motivated. And we should all have a good idea of what we mean by intrinsic and extrinsic. So if I'm intrinsically motivated, it's to do with me. I'm doing something because I am self-determined. I want to do it because I want to get better. I want to get fitter. I want to lose weight. Extrinsic motivation, I'm motivated by something external to me. So it could be praise, it could be reward. It could be making someone happy or pleasing someone. So it's to do, if I'm going to become physically literate, I need to have internal intrinsic motivation. I need to have that self-determination. I want to do something because I want to get better. I want to succeed. I want to engage. I want to participate. Okay, so it's motivation. It's confidence. Now, confidence is linked to physical activity and it's linked to physical competence, because if I'm not confident in myself, so if you take a young child now and they're going to go and participate in a PE lesson with 25 other young children, if they're not confident in their own ability and they haven't got that internal drive and self-determination, then they're not going to fully engage in the lesson. They're not going to participate. They're not going to put themselves forward. They're going to shy away. They're going to stand on the sidelines. They're going to not fully engage with the other individuals. So we need to think as teachers, right, how do we develop that internal drive, that intrinsic motivation? How do I make young children more confident in their own ability? It's to do with physical competence. So physical competence linked to 40 odd fundamental movement skills. So can I catch? Can I run? Can I jump? Can I kick? Can I twist? Can I turn? Can I leap? Can I climb? So if I know I'm physically competent at doing those movements, the impact of that is I'm more likely to engage in a PE lesson. I'm more likely to engage in a social, recreational game of basketball, because I've got the confidence to know that I can do something, and I'm going to feel confident that I can participate and compete with my peers. So we can see that motivation, confidence, physical competence, they all inextricably link to one another. It's also to do with knowledge and understanding. So the more knowledgeable and the more understanding that a young child has about physical activity and physical education, again, the more likely they are to engage, because they understand what they're doing, they understand how to do it, and they understand why they're doing it. So again, your role as a teacher or as a coach is to educate. It's to give them knowledge of how to do something and why they're doing it, and how to correct themselves and how they become better. And also give them the responsibility to do that themselves, that they can educate themselves, they can correct themselves. And that's what the last part of the quote there says, responsibility for engagement. How many we talk about young children being physically inactive. We talk about, and it came out again this week, about obesity levels in young children and teenagers, because they don't take the responsibility for their engagement in physical activity. Why don't they do it? Because they haven't got the motivation to do it, because they haven't got the confidence, they haven't got the competence, and they haven't got the knowledge and understanding. So hopefully you're starting to build a picture up now. Physical literacy, whatever your understanding of it is, it isn't just about playing sport or being good at sport or being good at movement. It's not necessarily the teaching of it. It's to do with an individual and how they develop that intrinsic motivation, how they develop the confidence, the competence, the knowledge and understanding. And once they have all of that, then hopefully they start to become more informed about physical education and activity. They start to become what we call autonomous individuals. They can make decisions, they can solve problems. Why? Because you as a coach or you as a teacher has given them the skills, the ability to be able to do that, because of how you've taught them and how you've coached them. Okay, so as a group, based on, I probably answered some of this for you now, but again, just have a look at the definition. Pick out what you think to be the most critical attributes within the definition. So having looked at the definition that I've just presented, and I've probably given you some of the answers already, pick out what you think are the most significant features of that definition.